नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरये. So welcome back. We were in the story of Indraprastha, where the kingdom of Yudhishthira is now flourishing. And last time we saw the story where in a hot summer day, Arjuna had thought of taking a break and had requested Krishna that why don't we all go for a picnic, kind of an outing to the banks of river Yamuna. And the whole group of royalty had started for a day out, which meant Draupadi, Subhadra, all the Sakhis, all the brothers, the courtiers, all of them had gone to this resort by the banks of Yamuna, a beautiful resort. And the fascinating story of how the different groups of ladies had done different things. Some were singing, some were dancing, some were quarreling, some had gone into to talk secrets among themselves. And how Draupadi and Subhadra had brought suitcases after suitcases of gifts to give out to the other Sakhis. So there was lots of things to be handed out. There were dresses, there was jewelry, all of that. It was a lot of fun for the young ladies of the royalty of Indraprastha by the river bank, and Krishna and Arjuna, of course, having fun. And then they had walked off separately, chatting, and they were the best of friends. And they were walking off separately when suddenly, at some point, when they were sitting down by the banks of Yamuna, there was this suddenly in front of them there came this tall, blazing kind of man. He with matted hair, and he has bluish gold to look at, and he was wearing tattered clothes, but he had a presence about him which made both of them, Arjuna and Krishna, stand up in reverence, and they knew that somebody had come, and it was a Brahmana, and that Brahmana had introduced himself and said that he wanted bhiksha, and he would like them to get him bhiksha because he is very hungry. And they had said, what is it that we can get for you? Definitely we will get you. Tell us whatever you want, we will get you that, etc. And then he had told his story in a sense that he said, listen, I am Agni, and I need to eat this forest. This Khandava I need to eat, but I have a problem, because this Khandava is under the protection of Lord Indra, because his friend Takshaka, the king of snakes, lives in this forest. It is his area, so it's under his protection. So I can't burn it, because if I start burning it starts raining, or there's some water from somewhere or the other. So it's a problem for me, and I'm hungry and I want to eat this alone. And so you need to help me. So then quickly the story was being told by Vaishampayana to Janamejaya, and Janamejaya had said, but why? What was the reason? Why did Agni want to eat up this forest, and why was he hungry, and why was he looking ill, etc.? I said, there is a story. We saw the whole story last time. How there was a king who wanted to do a Satra Yagya, and that king had a lot of Ritviks in his court, and he used to do Yagyas all the time. And because of the yagyas being done all the time, the priests, the Purohitas in his group had developed, they couldn't handle the smoke and the eyes and all that was a big problem. At some point in time, they said, we can't do more. They had stopped coming. He had tried to persuade them by logic. He had tried to give them higher salary. He had tried to do all kinds of things. They said, Bhaiya chhod do. We can't. It's too much for us. It's not. So then he said, what should I do? Have I done anything wrong? Why would you say no? I want to do a Satrayagam. A Satrayagam will go on for 100 years. So he wanted these people to come and do that. So they said, no, we can't, we're not able to. If you really want to do it, why don't you go and ask Lord Shiva? And they kind of gave him a brush off. So he had gone and he had done tapasya in Mount Kailasha, and finally Lord Shiva had become pleased with him and said, what do you want? He said, I want to do this Satrayagya and I would like you to come and help me do it. So Lord Shiva said, listen, I gave you a boon, you asked for a boon, but I am not in the business of conducting yajna and all that, but that's all right. My Amsha Durvasa is there, I will tell him, he will conduct. But there is a condition. Condition is that for 12 years, you must conduct one yajna, non-stop, you must be doing the day and night, you must do this yajna and pouring ghee into the yajna non-stop, and you must also be observing non-stop 12 years, you must observe brahmacharya. He gives a list of rules. And if you successfully do that, then your wish can be granted. So this king was good enough to do that. So he non-stop, he did all that, he observed brahmacharya, Durvasa came, Satrayagya was held, Satrayagya was completed, etc., 100 years, whatever. But in that process, what had happened was, the Agni, who had been fed ghee non-stop for all these years, became sick. Because stomach can agree with, how much ghee could the stomach agree? So he had become totally sick and he was having stomach upset all the time and big problem. And he had gone desperately to Brahma and said, no, what is it? What should I do? So Brahma had said, see, it's like this. There is this Khandava forest which you had burned down once on the request of the Devas. Now that forest is back. So your only way, the medicine for you is that you burn it down again and eat that forest. So immediately Agni had gone and tried, but Indra was putting a foil to his plans, and why Indra, even the elephants and the forest itself used to come and put water wherever he was burning and put it off and all that. So the timing was not right. The planets were not in his favor at that point in time. Despite all his efforts, things are not working. He had gone back to Brahma. Brahma said, this is not the time, you must wait. There will come a time when Nara and Narayana will come and then they will help you. And now finally Narayana is Krishna, Nara is Arjuna. And they had come to the banks of Yamuna. Brahma had tipped off Agni. Agni had come and said, please help me. I need to eat. I haven't eaten anything but ghee and I'm in a bad shape and his eyes are all gone. He had lost color. His whole body was Panduvarna, Vivarna. It had gone. Everything was gone. All of that is in bad shape. So, Arjuna had made a quick, he said, yes, somebody has come with a supplication, God, that too, Deva, Agni, he said, we will do it. But right now they had come for a picnic, so he had not come prepared for her. The opponent to take on would be Indra, because it's under Indra's protection. So he had said that I would need weapons, I would need a good bow, I would need some arrows, I would need some astra, I would need a chariot, all of that. Then of course, and so Krishna would need some weapons, and we have to be, basically for doing any task you need three things. You need Paurusham, which means your own strength, enthusiasm, prowess. You need Astram, which means the tools to do the job. Then you need Daivam, which means the grace of God to do that. Paurusham, who other than Arjuna? Arjuna has got Paurusham, anytime Paurusham. Daivam right next to him, Sri Krishna is standing there. Astram not there. Astram he needs. So he had asked the Agni. Agni said that is not a problem. And he had immediately contemplated Varuna. Varuna had come. And we are running through the long story of last time. We are completing that. So he said he had given him on the request of Agni Bhagavan. Varuna Bhagavan gave Arjuna the great bow Gandhiva. This is where Gandhiva first comes into Mahabharata. So the great bow Gandhiva was given to Arjuna, and Vaishampayana goes gaga over it when he explains that bow to Janamedaya, about that bow that was given to Tadadbhutam Mahaviryam. The Adbhutam, that awesome bow which enhances the kirti of the person to whom it belongs, which is incapable of being overcome by any other weapon. which is capable of destroying every other weapon, which is indeed bigger than all bows, bigger than all weapons. Why weapons? It is capable of destroying the whole army of enemies, which one bow is equal to 100,000 bows, which one bow will expand the kingdom of the person who wields it. That great bow, Gandiva, was given by Varuna Bhagavan to Arjuna along with quivers of inexhaustible arrows. A terrific chariot was given to him. A beautiful chariot was given to him. It was specifically asked for. Agni said, give him that chariot. Give him that chariot which has the flag with the ape, with the monkey. So that specific chariot, and Arjuna had specifically asked for white horses. With those beautiful horses was given to Arjuna, with that fantastic flagstaff which rises high into the sky with that screaming ape who can strike terror into the enemies. And that ape is accompanied by Bhutaganas. He's not alone, who are all screaming. The ape being Hanuman, who is but an aspect of Lord Shiva. He is Shiva, and the Bhutaganas are Shiva's natural companions in times of joy like war, etc. Incidentally, the Lord Shiva is a very active participant in the Mahabharata war, although you might not actually think about it in that manner. But he is, and he will come. When you actually go and hear the war, you will find that he has played such a big role, actively. That's it. Other than being on top of the flag as Hanuman, as himself as well. That's also come. So this chariot, everything was given to him, and to Krishna was given the great Chakraayudha. The Sudarshana Chakra was given to him by Varuna Bhagavan for use in this incarnation as Sri Krishna. And he also gave him a great Gada. He gave him a Gada which was dazzling to look at, and he took it in his hand. It was rustling with lightning and thunderous grumble, etc. The great Kaumudi was given to Sri Krishna. We stopped there last time. We continue from there now. And so Arjuna is pleased. He's got a bow unmatched with him now. He's got a chariot. He's got all that he wanted. And the great chariot with the apes and the Bhutaganas on top. Nadena ripusainyana shesham sanya pranashyati. By whose growls the enemy army gets destroyed just by the sounds created by that ape and those Bhutaganas. Now Arjuna is now ready. He's got the bow has been given, everything has been given. Now he's going to get ready for the project, so to say. So he tightens his belt, he puts on his shield, he strapped his sword, he put on his finger guards, leather guards, etc. that needs to be put on when you're fighting. He did all that. Then he did a pradakshanam of the chariot. He then prayed to the Lord. Daivitebhya pranamyacha. This he does. As we saw during the Swayamvara of Draupadi, that before he picked up that bow, he had prayed. The fundamental difference between Arjuna and anybody else on that Swayamvara day was that the Daivam. So here also, before he got onto the chariot, he prayed. He was pleased. Agni Bhagavan was standing in front of him. He went in front of him with the Gandiva. He took the Gandiva. And then in front of Agni Bhagavan, he strung the bow. Now stringing the bow is a non-trivial task. Modern bows. Bows is a subject by itself. Crossbows. You don't keep the bow strung all the time. The bow will go bad. It's only when you need it, you string it. Otherwise, you take off the string and keep it tension free. It's only during the battle time that you make it tense. ready to go. So this is now it's impossible for for anyone and everyone to string a bow. I mean, it's a skill and it needs strength, and this is a big bow and it needs tremendous strength to string it, etc. So now Arjuna, what lovely, what a challenge! What is the kind of challenge that you will love more than this? He took this Gandiva bow and he strung it in front of Agni Bhagavan, and it made such a Tankara sound. It made such a Tankara sound that it struck terror into the forest of Khandavana. All the animals just stood up and looked, like they do when a lion roars in a forest. When a lion roars somewhere in the forest, the whole forest will stop. That sound has got an ability of not knowing how near is it. It sounds as if it's right here, the damn lion, somewhere nearby. Even when I was a kid and we used to be in Delhi and the zoo was many miles away, but in the morning at 5 o'clock the lion will roar. It was that was the morning alarm for us. At 5 in the morning the lion will roar. You could hear here. You could hear. Carry the power of the voice, the throw, as they say. Now, Arjuna, he had done the Tankara, and Krishna was there. The chakra had been given to him, and Agni Bhagavan and Varuna Bhagavan told Sri Krishna that this chakra, O Sri Krishna, is capable of destroying even Amanava enemies. Those are not humans. Whether it is Rakshasas, Yakshas, Gandharvas, Pishachas, Nagas, whatever they are, it will destroy them all. And when you use this upon your enemy, it will go and destroy the enemy that you aim it at, and then it will come back to you, O Krishna. He also given that Gada Kaumudi to Sri Krishna, all was ready. Arjuna looked at Sri Krishna and said, "Oh Achyuta, what can that friend of Takshaka, Indra, do to us now?" He looked at Agni Bhagavan and said, "Bhagavan, we have what we need. The weapons are with us. We are ready. We can face the entire Devalokam now. What to talk of Indra? O Mahaprabhu, you may go. You may start. You may surround the forest now from all sides and burn it to your heart's desire. We are ready. We are ready to start. You may go." Because Agni Bhagavan had said, not one creature should escape. I want to eat them all. You must ensure that I get to eat everything in this forest. That's the job they have to do to ensure that Indra Bhagavan is kept away and all the food in that feast is available to Agni Bhagavan. Agni was waiting. Now he said, "You may go, we are ready." Agni leapt. Whoop, he leapt. 7 flames of his tongues. Whoop, it surrounded that forest from all sides. It was set on fire in no time. If one has to understand a fire in glory, it has to be a forest fire. It is the forest fire where all this starts. This Khandavana, this Gandhiva, all that. It's a key part of Bharatam. It will be a forest fire where it will end later. And Dhritarashtra and Kunti and Gandhari will perish in a forest fire at end. Fascinating. They will face the fire. Their faces will be looking at the direction of the fire. Fascinating stories. Anyway, coming back here. So the fire had started like a Mahapralayam. It was boom, it was going. And the animals in the forest, suddenly it was on fire. They were trying to retreat, run hither, thither, going towards the center. But the fire was chasing right through the forest. In no time, it was in most parts of the forest, a huge forest was gata, 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 gata. It was going on like that. And the animals were trembling with fear. And Krishna and Arjuna were on two chariots. Each had a chariot. And they were on two sides of the forest now. One side of the forest, Arjuna with his Gandhi, other side, Krishna with his Kaumudi and his Chakra. And they were like you see this Chakram in the Deepavali, that like that. They were swirling around the forest and they're swirling around themselves. It was like a dance around the forest. The two of them were seen everywhere and they were ensuring that not a creature could escape, not an animal could find a minute gap from which they could actually get out of that forest. And and Arjuna, the animals in the forest, their time had come. They were all raising, screaming, hideous cries. Just jumping here and there. The description given by Vaishampana is quite gory. I am sparing you that. But suffice to say, they were burning, half burnt, some were burnt. They were maimed. The body parts, one part gone, like that. They could jump, they could run, they were getting blinded. They were in terrible shape, all the animals, etc. And then, Sarvalingya sutanyasme pitrun bhratrun tatha pare tyaktam najeguznena tatreva nidhanam gata. There were some animals who were embracing their young ones, it seems. There were some other animals which are embracing their Pitrun, father, Bhratrun, brothers, families are huddling together against the fire. Snehat, Nasheku, they could not think of leaving the one and run away because of the affection that they had for each other, and they all died together in that fire. Some animals gnashed their teeth in anger and they tried to attack the fire and they tried to jump here and there and leap, etc. But they perished in the fire. There were birds who were trying to fly out and they were but the fire was leaping up behind them and feathers were getting burnt, the leg was getting burnt, or the eyes were getting blinded. They were falling down right back into that forest and getting eaten up by the fire. And in the waters, the lakes and the ponds inside the forest were all getting dried up by this fire. And the tortoises inside that, the fishes inside that were all getting fried and dying. And there were animals who were simply burning, like in the Ram Leela or something that you see, a Ravana or a Meghnath burning. There were animals burning and they looked like the Murti, the Murti of fire. As if fire had taken the form of that animal and it was burning. It was like that, the whole forest. And the bird actually managed to escape the fire and reach the sky. Arjuna was cutting them down. He was cutting them down with his arrows, and they would fall back into the fire. And it was right as if right now by this time the fire was probably Agni Bhagavan was probably merely in his second gear or something. He had probably taken the starters in the food, and he had just started to eat the first course of a multi-course meal, so to say, and he's been hungry for many years, eating ghee for 120 years. I mean, he's going to eat. So he's eating, he started to eat, and the fire is going on, and the sound that was now being created was like the sound that was heard during the churning of the ocean. That sound was the sound that's coming from here. The fire leapt high into the sky, putting the fear of life into the Devas in the Devalokam. What is this? They went running to Indra. And said, why is Agni is there? Why has Agni gone berserk? Is it Pralayam? I mean, did we miss something? I mean, what date is it today? Is it Pralayam? Why is he doing this? And Indra said, no, is that so? Let me see. So he had immediately got ready and he rushed to the Khandavana. And of course, he was ready. He gathered multitudes of clouds and ordered them to just dump the waters in that forest and like as if there was huge, vessels of clouds in the sky just getting upturned like that and throwing the water. Boom! Water started falling in the sky on that flaming forest. Countless streams started pouring by this thing. But the power of the fire, by now, the fire was in power. So the power of the fire was such that even if the waters were falling down, they were evaporating. The vapors, they were getting vaporized as they were falling down. Indra said, "What is this? What is this?" So he doubled it. He said, "Now this," he said, "a larger contingent of clouds." So he get a larger contingent, bigger clouds, more clouds, etc. And with full force, he started making the rains on the Khandavana. They started even falling into the forest. But net, what is happening is, between the battle of the fire and the water, there was steam rising up in the sky, and to be like, and they were only adding to the clouds, and there was only more lightning and more thunder and all of that because of that. But the fire was on. It was not getting hurt by the rains at all, and it was fearsome sight. A fearsome sight, but then Indra was not an Indra for nothing. He was going on raining, he was increasing the rain, etc. And Agni can battle only so much. And Arjuna said, "Now I have to step in." So he started with this, and there Vyasa used a beautiful word that by his Atma Balam. It's not just his skill as an archer. By his Atma Balam, he filled the sky with his arrows. He made a complete umbrella in the sky to stop the rain from falling on the ground. It was like as if there was a fog in the sky which would hide the rays of the moon. Or an eclipse had stopped the rays of the moon. Like that, he stopped the rain from falling down by making an umbrella, a continuous umbrella of flying arrows around the sky, while telling Agni to go on. Eat your fill, like that. No creature was able to escape. Now, as we all saw in the beginning, the forest is famous because it is the home of Takshaka, who is a close friend of Devendra, and he is the king of Nagas. Now, as destiny would have it, on that day, Takshaka was out of station. He had gone to Kurukshetra. Vyasa doesn't tell us why he had gone to Kurukshetra. No idea, maybe he had gone to do Pitrikaryam in Kurukshetra, or he had gone as a pariharam of something he had done, what we don't know. But he had gone to Kurukshetra. But in the forest, his son was there. He had a strong son, young strong son, snake, called Ashwasena. He was there. And his wife was there, Gokarna. Gokarna was also there. So they were there in this forest, and this forest was burning. It was burning, and Ashwasena, a young, strong snake, the son of the king of the forest, so to say, Takshaka's son, king of Naga's son, he was ati prayatnam he was doing to escape from this blaze. He was trying to somehow get out of this blaze, etc. But he was unable. This was too much for him. Then his mother was there, Gokarna, and as mothers are, she could do things he couldn't do. When there was a crisis. So she caught hold of him and she said, "You come here, I'm going to swallow you." So she said, she caught hold of his head and slowly swallowed the head, and slowly, right up to his tail, she swallowed him totally. Having swallowed him, she had one ability he didn't have at that point in time. She could fly. She was a flying snake. So having swallowed him, she started flying in the sky. And she flew in the sky and came up in the sky. Arjuna saw the snake trying to escape. Watak, he gave one and cut the head off that snake, flying snake. That mother snake's head was cut off, and that it was going and falling somewhere. Indra was seeing all this. It was his friend's family. It was Takshaka's family. His wife had been beheaded by Arjuna. And Indra knew that she was carrying this Ashwasena within her as well. So he quickly But moved all his attention towards Arjuna and sent a heavy cyclone on his face, so to say, all rain and thunder and everything, right? They just smashed him with that. For a second, Arjuna staggered by that onslaught. In that 1 second, that Ashwasena escaped. That snake, that strong son of Takshaka, it escaped. He will play a role later in the Mahabharata war. He will remember throughout his life, this Arjuna killed my mother. He will come and sit in the arrow of Karna at a crucial time. Takshaka was not there. This fellow had escaped. Ashwasena had escaped. But then Arjuna, when Ashwasena had escaped, it's not that Arjuna didn't realize. Arjuna realized that he had been done in. I mean, there was a second of lack of... See, this entire business about any spiritual progress or any such thing is about attention. If attention slips, it is death. That is the definition of death. Pramado vai mrityuhu. Sanatsudatiyam. Arjuna's attention had slipped. Ashwasena had escaped. But Arjuna not to know that in that slip that he had given that snake, that Takshaka's son has escaped. One creature has escaped. He knew. Tam cha mayam tada drishtva ghoram nagena vanchitah dvidatrida karatan praninaha pandavochinat. He knew that he had been vanchitah. He had been cheated. I have been cheated. This thing has escaped me. Huh? Maya. Indra Maya. The Maya of Indra, my attention was taken for a second. Here's a man who is filling the sky with arrows. Non-stop. His attention was taken for a second and Ashwasena escaped. He quickly gathered and he realized that the mistake had happened was he had cut the head and thought it was over. Now anything that was going up, he is going to cut it into 2 parts or 3 parts or 4 parts like that and bring it down. Dvida, Trida. He's going to cut all that. So he started doing that. But even as he was doing that, he gave a curse to that Ashwasena who had escaped. He voiced Shashapa. He voiced a curse. He said, Apratishto bhavishyasi. O snake who have escaped from me, in your life, you will not have any value. You will also not have any foundation. You will have no refuge. You will have no ashraya. You will be there. Escaping from me. No role for you anymore in this world. Shashapa. He gave that curse to that Ashwasena, which was approved by Indra and Krishna. Both. Arjuna recovered and proceeded with the mass killing of all the animals and cutting them to pieces. And in anger, now he was actually angry. I mean, this was, what do you do? It's like some person who always gets 100 out of 100, 100 out of 100. Once he gets 99, he can't sleep at all. That 1 mark. 1 mark. Even his parents will say, oh, you didn't get centum, those days. Yeah, centum, if you don't get, you're not, they can disown you. So, he was very angry now, and he decided this Indra, Indra was the one who had done that business. So he said, let me take on Indra. He said, come. To Indra, he said, come, give me battle, let me see. And he started shooting right, left and center at Indra. Indra, of course knows who Arjuna is. So he will do what he does, but he will do what he does. So he picked up his Aindrastra. It's a fantastic astra. It served a purpose there. What it did at that point in time was it kicked up a terrific storm. And by that storm, it tossed all the ocean to the earth and sucked up the waters from the ocean and made them into huge clouds, massive, massive clouds on top of that forest, and it started to boom, doing typhoon and rain on the forest. So he started that with his Indrastra. Lightnings the size of which nobody has seen was striking the earth, breaking things. Massive lightnings was coming down like Vajra falling. Arjuna to counter this, he took the Vayavastra, the Astra of wind. He took that, and this Astra, as soon as he deployed it, it went and took away the strength from the Indrastra. And then, in no time, the clouds and the rains, it dried them up and blew them away. And the same sky which had become absolutely dark because of these clouds that had been sucked up from the oceans, the clouds were driven away and suddenly the sky was blue and the sun was shining and the wind was blowing. Vayavastra, the wind was blowing, and when the wind was blowing, Agni had his accomplice. Whoop, he was going on in 10 times more strength. He was going on in a split second. Natural splendor, Agni, every piece of wood he was licking and eating, every flesh, every animal, and this roar of the fire was resounding in the whole world. There's old Subhashitani. There's a simple verses of Sanskrit that they teach you in school. Vanani dahato vanhe sakha bhavati maruta saeva deepanashaya krishe kasyasti sauhridam. When the fire is burning a forest, says the Subhashitam, Maruta, the wind, becomes the sakha of the fire, the friend of the fire. Whereas, when there is a lamp which is burning, the wind will put it off. He says, for a weakling, there are no friends. If you are a weakling, you have no friends. You be strong, you have friends. So anyway, Agni and Vayu Bhagavan were friends here now. Roar of the fire was resounding, Asuras, Gandharvas, Nagas, etc. were coming out to fight. There was a Garutman, there was an eagle, a fantastic sword which attacked Arjuna. There was a snake, there were snakes, flying snakes which were trying to attack Arjuna. He was cutting them all down. And there was these Nagas and Pishachas and Asuras, all of them were coming out of the forest. And then Krishna with his chakra was just making mincemeat of those people. Arjuna was busy the other side, Krishna with his chakra was this side, and Indra now was properly angry. He rushed towards Arjuna and Krishna, and he took off his Vajrayudham. He took off his Vajrayudham itself and he said, Hata Vetam Niti. He announced to the Devas who were with him that they are dead now. These two are dead. He took his Vajrayudham, and when he took that, all the Devas, 33 crores of them, they took their respective astras in their hands. Yama took the Kaladanda in his hand. Varuna took the Pasha in his hand. Likewise, Kubera took his Gada in his hand. Mitra took something. Varuna took something. All the Devas took their respective weapons because Indra had taken it, said, and they are dead now, he had said, and he was about to deploy it, and Krishna and Arjuna were properly angry, and they started attacking the Devas and injuring each one of them. And Indra was, however, he didn't use that Vajrayudham, probably for whatever reason. First he decided to test the strength of Arjuna again. So he started showering a whole lot of boulders, rocks upon them. And Arjuna was just picking them up in the sky and breaking them up into pieces. And it was just going like that. Then Indra said, let me check again. He took a huge mountain and he threw that at Arjuna. And Arjuna just When he was falling down from the sky, he smashed that with his arrows, and that instead of falling on him, the entire mountain went and fell in the damn forest and killing more animals and making more of a mess of that place in Khandavana, which was already burning. Further damage to life. Danavas, Rakshasas, Nagas, cheetahs, lions, tigers, elephants, bears, deer, buffaloes, countless birds, all sorts of animals perished in that forest fire. The scene was so bloody, so much blood, that it looked like clouds during sunset time. All the devas were now at their wits' end. They didn't know what to do. They would have liked to leave. Indra himself was taken aback by the strength of these two people out there. When a voice in the sky told him, announced to Indra, "O Vasava, your friend Takshaka is not here. He is alive. He has gone to Kurukshetra. Please know, Vasava, that Krishna and Arjuna cannot be defeated. They are Nara and Narayana. Api sarveshu lokeshu purana vrishi sattamo pujaniya tamaveta api sarvai sura surai yaksha rakshasa gandharva narakinnara pannagai api sarveshu lokeshu purana vrishi sattamo pujaniya tamaveta. The whole, they are Nara and Narayana, they are worthy of worship by the Sarva, all lokas, all the lokas. They are worthy of worship by all the devatas, by the asuras, yakshas, rakshasas, gandharvas, kinnaras, pannagas, all of them. Tasmadita surai sardham gandhumarhasi vasava dishtam chapyanuvashyetat khandavasya vinashanam. So Vasava, you may now retreat from here along with all the devas. The voice told. You may leave this place and go taking all the devas with you. And please understand, Dishtam chapyanupashyaitat khandavasya vinashanam. You must see the destruction of this forest of Khandava as the writing of Prarabdha. This is destiny's handwriting. You cannot do anything about it. You may leave. The voice told Indra. Indra is realpolitik. He knows when to go. He decided to go. And the devas thought, good to go. So all of them turned and they left the place, and Arjuna and Krishna saw them go, and they did Simhanadam. Joy, the roar of victory, etc. They did that, and the fire was still on the job. It was third gear around that time. So high, just like the high winds were scattering the clouds, Arjuna was scattering all the devas now, and he was killing all the creatures in the forest. Arjuna was still on the job. Nothing was allowed to escape. No creature could escape. Sometimes one arrow of Arjuna could kill multiple scores of animals. Sometimes he would need many arrows to kill one animal, says Vaishampayana and Janamedya. Animals died and they were eaten up by the fire. Elephants, deer, cheetah, etc. All of them wailing in pain. It was so loud were the painful cries of the animals in the forest that the fishes in the oceans far away trembled in fear. Far away. And the Rakshasas and Nagas and Pannaga and the other ones, Amanavas, were all being cut down by Krishna's chakra, and Agni was enjoying the feast. He was absolutely in great shape, enjoying the feast, burning brightly. And now that he had eaten a lot, but he was still on the job, but he was now busy, he was getting his health back. He was getting everything back. And Vyasa says he was regaining his health. His eyes were suddenly regaining the shine. His eyes had become dull and yellow. Now, again, that splendor was there. His tongues of flame were all now proper tongues, not like some dead tongue, nothing. It's a proper tongue. The eating all that stuff. His face was becoming resplendent. His dazzling hair was now properly like he had gone for some uh, men's makeover or whatever you call it. So it was properly standing and everything was air conditioned, etc. It was properly standing in its proper place. He was very pleased and he was now contented with the carnage and the feast, etc. But he was attacking. Now he was in full flow. And then Madhusudana, Sri Krishna, suddenly sighted one more creature trying to escape from that forest. Crawling on all fours. Mayasura, the architect of the Rakshasas, who had been in the forest, was trying to escape. Arjuna saw him. And as soon as Arjuna saw him, then everybody, all three saw him. Agni saw them. Agni said, Tam Agni prarthayamasa didakshurvata sarati shariravanjati bhutva nadanniva balahaka. Agni is right now burning the forest. Now it has noticed that this Mayasura is trying to escape. Immediately Agni took his form as well, his Murtiman form, and he went straight to Arjuna. And he said, and he was jati, he was having the matted locks, etc. He prarthayamasa. Vatasarathi is called. Vata means wind. The one who rides on the wind is Agni. He is called Vatasarathi. So he asked Arjuna, he said, thundering, his voice was like a thunder of a cloud. He said, I want him. The other side of the escape route of the Mayasura was cut off by Sri Krishna, who stood there, chakra in hand. Mayasura, he has constructed all the palaces and everything. He constructed Lanka. He is Mandodari's father. He is actually Vishwakarma only. When he is actually working for them, he calls himself Mayasura. He has got 2 visiting cards. Vishwakarma only constructed this chariot, this Gandiva, this chariot actually, even this chariot was constructed by Vishwakarma. He constructed Indraprastha itself. Anyway, Mayasura was trying to escape. It's like Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. Probably Mayasura doesn't know Vishwakarma, and Vishwakarma doesn't know Mayasura, but they are the same. We don't know. I'm just speculating. But right now, Mayasura is trying to escape. And he's a very experienced man. So he finds one side, Agni is saying, I want him. Krishna is standing on the other side of the chakra. He decides only way is Arjuna. He goes and falls at his feet and says, Try, save me. Save me. Save me. He tells Arjuna. Arjuna says, Abhayam. Fear not. Fear not. When Arjuna gives Abhayam, Agni and Krishna step back. Yeah. Arjuna has given Abhayam. They step back. They say, when you go to see Lord Venkateshwara in Tirupati or Varadaraja Perumal in Kanchipuram, one hand will be Abhayam, one hand will be Varadam. I give you boon. 100% of the devotees want boon. Nobody says, give me Abhayam. Give me this. Nobody says, give me freedom from fear. And freedom from fear comes only in Advaita Sthiti, when there is no duality. Anyway, Arjuna has given Abhayam to Mayasuran. Agnideva continued the destruction of the forest. He continued destruction of the forest, and Vaishampayana says, Tadvanam pavako dhiman dinani dasha panchacha dada Krishna parthabhyam rakshita pakashasanat. Agni Bhagavan continued burning that forest for 15 days. He burnt that forest to eat. खाते गया, खाते गया, खाते गया. And he was, for the entire period of time, he had the protection of Krishna and Arjuna. Tasmin vane dahyamane षडग्निर्न च अश्वसेनं मयं चैव चतुरश्चाङ्गकस्तथा. In that forest, which was burned down completely with all the creatures in it, Vaishampayana tells Janamejaya, there are only 6 who escaped. Somebody is doing the math out here. 1 was Ashwasena, 2 was Maya, and there were 4 Sharangakas. Janamejaya immediately asked Vaishampayana, "Oh Brahman, you told me about Ashwasena, you told me about Mayasura, but who are these 4 Sharangaka? Sharangaka are birds. Who are these 4 Sharangaka birds? Why were they not burnt? In that tremendous blaze, how did these 4 birds manage to escape? This is amazing. Please tell me all about it." And on that note, we'll conclude here today. And I assure you, the story of the Sharangaka birds who escaped is one of the most fascinating stories of Bharatam. You will not want to miss it. Har Nama Parvati Pataye Janaki Kanta Smaranam Gopika Jivana Smaranam Petrivil Muruganak Shri Sadguru Swamina Sri Anjaneya Swamina